friends, and welcome back to another video where today we will be discussing the character Celeborn, a quick refresher with his history and background, major deeds and events in the Second Age, and then some theories and reactions to his involvement in the Rings of Power Season 2, as we revealed exclusively a couple of days ago that Callum Lynch is playing Celeborn, the husband of Galadriel, the main character. So firstly, let's start off with his backstory where we delve into the first age of Middle-earth and Beleriand. Celeborn, also known as Teleporno infamously, was a silver-haired Sindar elf who was also a prince of Doriath. Doriath was a kingdom in Beleriand before the sinking and was helmed by Thingol, the king of Doriath. In the nature of Middle-earth, it was noted in regards to his parentage and lineage that he was the grandson of Elmo, who was a supposed third brother of Thingol and Olwe. He was a prince and dwelled in Doriath for many years of the first age, but during this period, a golden-haired elf named Galadriel also came to Doriath and began a friendship with Melian the Maya, who ruled with Thingol. Soon enough, this planted the seeds of the relationship between Galadriel and Celeborn to blossom, as they soon officially met in Doriath and fell in love and eventually wedded. Galadriel even stayed in Doriath with Celeborn whilst her brother would go and establish the dwarven kingdom of Nargothrond. Soon, near the end of the first age, they would pass over the Blue Mountains and begin the journey of travelling together across Middle-earth from kingdom to kingdom. The whereabouts and journey of Celeborn and Galadriel is a highly contested and contradictory section of Tolkien's works, so we have composed a timeline which best suits. Firstly, in the Second Age, they started off at Lindon, the kingdom of High King Gil-galad, where Celeborn was given a chieftain role for the land of Har-Lindon. Then, after spending some time at Lake Nenuel with Galadriel and the other elves, Celeborn and Galadriel had a child called Celebrian, presumably during this time period. After the birth and growth of Celebrian, their journey continued westwards until they reached the elven kingdom of Eregion with their ruler Celebrimbor around the year 750 of the Second Age. Whilst Celeborn stayed in Eregion, Galadriel left and travelled with Celebrian, their daughter, across the Misty Mountains and through the realm of Khazad-dûm to the land of the Wood Elves. Meanwhile, Celeborn stayed in Eregion due to his hatred of the dwarves. Celeborn staying in Eregion resulted in him being a commander and important figure in the sack of Eregion, whereby he led the remaining elves to safety with Elrond, where they would go and establish Imladris, also known as Rivendell. So here begins the next stage of Celeborn's journey, where he helped Elrond with the foundation of Rivendell, where he stayed for several years. Soon enough, after the war had ended, Galadriel and Celebrian returned to Imladris and reunited with Celeborn. Celeborn would then later migrate with Galadriel to Belfalas and stay there for the rest of the Second Age. We might as well also note that early into the Third Age, around the year 109, Celeborn and Galadriel made their way back to Rivendell, where their daughter Celebrian was wedded to Elrond, because even though it is not an event in the Second Age, there could be a small possibility we see it maybe in season 5 or one of the final scenes of the show, who knows. So that is his story so far up until the end of the Second Age, so that covers all the events we could see in season 2. However, of course, there can be some events of his that we didn't see in the text that we could see in the show due to the limited amount of rights. So, building on that, what do we currently know about Celeborn in the Rings of Power so far? The Sylvan Prince was mentioned during episode 7 during this dialogue scene between Theo and Galadriel, where Galadriel mentions losing her husband in battle and that they met in a forest where she dances for him, with of course similar parallels to Beren and Luthien. From the mouths of the showrunners themselves, they said during a Q&A screening of the 7th episode, showrunner J.D. Payne teased Celeborn's fate was left quote ambiguous for a reason. Quote, Galadriel says she never saw him again. Ambiguous, and we know there are things that the two of them do together in terms of progeny that they will issue, realms they will found, all kinds of things. So it would be very hard to believe that she would never see him again, but let's see. Whether ambiguous or not, this quote basically suggests that Celeborn is still alive and that we will see him at some point and his reunion with Galadriel, as they still have a lot to do, as referenced in the background and history we gave of the character in the second age above. There are still these events that need to happen. But the most important question here is, how do you introduce Celeborn into season 2, given that he's currently MIA, missing in action, and how do you explain his absence as well? So let's go through a few theories. The first theory is that he is currently captured by Sauron at one of his northern fortresses, maybe even the ones further north which Galadriel implied than the Durnos stronghold that we saw in episode 1 of season 1. Maybe if she had carried on her search, she would have found her imprisoned husband. Instead, the company did indeed mutiny. The second theory is the Círdan theory, which revolves around the point that we also didn't see him during season 1, so maybe there is a link there as to his whereabouts. Maybe Círdan even gets introduced into the story by finding Celeborn and bringing him back to Galadriel. That would give some interesting plot points to Círdan, who for most of the second age, except for some dealings with the Númenóreans and being a general during the War of the Elves and Sauron, doesn't really do much else except staying at the harbour. The third theory, and my favourite theory, is that during the first age and one of the many battles before the sinking of Beleriand, Celeborn is captured and sent to prison in and around where these isles are on the top left of the Rings of Power map, maybe Tolfuin or the others. We know that these islands survived the sinking of Beleriand, and maybe Celeborn survived on them as he was in a prison that was luckily in one of the bits of lands which did not sink and ended up becoming these islands that we can see now. So we see how he escapes in season 2 and makes his way back to Middle-earth and of course Galadriel. A quite out there theory for our fourth and final theory is the Rune theory, whereby the stranger and Nori, who are both heading east to Rune, might end up finding Celeborn maybe trapped, imprisoned or stuck there. The only problem with this would be, how did he go from a battle in Beleriand far away all the way to the west of Middle-earth to the easternmost side of the world? We shall see. Celeborn's appearance in season 2 was expected but very exciting, and here we even have some highlighted fan reactions and thoughts on the latest exclusive scoops from the community. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below as to Callum Lynch playing Celeborn and how you would introduce him into the story and explain his absence. Also, we did have a few more scoops that we ended up not covering in this video, but I thought I would share the end just in case you missed it. First one mainly revolving around the costumes Celeborn will be wearing in season 2, a silver one, a gold one and a dark blue one, which was very interesting and intriguing. Of course, maybe he has even a silver theme, of course, with his hair. Likewise, we also learnt that he was actually in, funnily enough, full costume during one of the chemistry tests with Morvith Clark, who plays Galadriel, so that would make sense that those two are having a chemistry test. Thank you guys for watching, we really appreciate it. Please make sure to like and subscribe, but until the next video my friends, goodbye.